Hi, and welcome to Affected, a podcast from Meet. For those of you who don't know Meet, we are a global life sciences talent provider. We've been connecting the industry for over a decade, and now we want to share some of our insights and experiences with you. We'll be hosting monthly episodes, sharing thoughts from our leaders and industry professionals about job hunting and hiring in life sciences, as well as giving our network a platform to share their own experiences of building successful careers in an industry that affects us all.
Hey guys, and welcome to a very special episode of the Affected podcast. I'm out on the West Coast in sunny, quite noisy downtown San Diego. I'm joined by Matt, who actually flew across the world to get away from having to ever be on camera again, but here we are.
You found me.
Matt now heads up our San Diego office after a huge stint of time in London, and he's been doing this for how many years now?
9.5 years.
9.5 years.
Yeah.
We're both getting very old.
Yes.
So the West Coast, and specifically San Diego, is quite an interesting space for recruitment, especially in the world of life sciences. What does that life sciences ecosystem look like over here?
Yeah. Well, they call it Biotech Beach, specifically down here in Southern California. So, Americans, they love to brand everything. But it's it's still a life science market. It's just a lot more focused around biotechs and startups, lots of spin-outs, lots of very small companies who, have never scaled their businesses before. So that presents a new challenge, slightly different from what I'm probably used to from our European market. These are still life science companies who hire in the same sort of verticals to develop their products from molecule to market, but there is a bit more challenge in terms of that discovery piece and trying to consult clients and understand what they think they need and then where we can actually add value, whether that's flexible resource or permanent retained search, whatever the need might be. So yeah, it's it's a great environment for companies to thrive and find talent. It's also an environment where companies might not have needed to use a recruitment agency before, or someone that is a specialist and has scaled various world-class startups in our market. So yeah, it's really interesting. The best part is the leaders in the field communicating with those and understanding their challenges, their products, what they're developing, their goals for their companies, and then trying to tailor solutions to each business. It's definitely a challenge, but it's been really, really interesting and very successful so far.
I just want to touch on something you said there in regards to that startup culture that exists here. Do you find that the guys who are building these biotechs, who are creating these medical devices and medications, they're in what they do because they're there to solve problems within the life sciences ecosystem? They might not necessarily have ever had to scale a team before. Do you ever find that these companies, that they might not necessarily know what they're looking for when it comes to that recruitment process?
Yeah. Firstly, the culture's very different here. I remember being on a meeting with one of the team's clients. They brought me along to kind of help facilitate it, and the client actually turned up in like flip-flops and a hoodie. And this is like a really PhD educated business leader, and that just kind of summed up my sort of transition to California here, really. But it's they're passionate about creating awesome medications that can actually have a really big impact on the market. What they're maybe not as used to or experienced in is the basics around staffing those needs. And with a lot of the uncertainty that we've seen in the market, whether it be various things that are going on way outside of our control, we've been able to position ourselves in a much more tailored approach rather than one size fits all. So that's where educating clients on a really flexible resource and what that might look like. Just because you're hiring someone does not mean you need to necessarily utilize them for 40 hours a week. So how can we utilize a recruitment process that works for that, whether it's 10 hours, 20 hours, anything really. So that's where we've really had to just focus a lot more on the discovery piece of our clients and understand, okay, well, you are planning this set of headcount. However, have you thought about utilising a more flexible resource that would actually cost you much less in the short term? Everyone's cash conscious right now, more than ever. So, we've seen that have a really big benefit to our client base.
Amazing. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges that the companies you work with face when looking for sort of that high caliber level of candidate?
I think over the last sort of, call it 18 months, probably coming up to 2 years now, everyone in life sciences has seen the market really shift, right? This normalization piece you might hear after the kind of craziness of that post-COVID sort of boom. That's added a layer of challenge in terms of companies being a lot more cautious in who they bring on. And inevitably, cautious hiring is, that means elongated process, it means multiple stages, it means, sign off on bonus packages, on various, things within an offer stage. And that makes things tricky because the longer you process, the more likely you are to obviously lose candidates, and not just from a timeline point of view, but also from a buy-in point of view, because any candidate who's looking for a new job, and we're all candidates in some degree, right? We like slick, efficient, and fairly quick process. We don't want to be, applying for a role that takes months and months, because there's multi-layers of decision making and sign off to be had. So that's definitely been a big challenge for a lot of our clients. I'd say financial challenges as well. We've seen the private equity really be scaled back. That's been pumped into life sciences from the craziness of the post-COVID environment. So that means, a lot of our clients would love to hire all the talent that we have for them, but they just don't have the financial means. And then again, linking that back to what I was saying before, that's where we can help construct a more tailored approach, right? So, okay, we know you want to pay $300K for any type of VP or whatever role skill set it is. You haven't got that cash right now. You haven't got that seed funding right now. Can we find something more part-time on an hours worked, hours paid basis, for example? Or if our client does have a really solid base of funding to work with, can we reduce the cost for them with a more embedded recruitment process, or a slightly different model away from just a big contingency structure that most agencies will probably be offering. So it's getting under the bonnet, getting into the nuts and bolts of what our clients think they need, what they actually need, and then how we can really offer something. And sometimes we can't always help. Sometimes their hires need to come from their own networks, and that's fine. I certainly don't want to be an agency that has solutions that clients actually can find themselves. And that's no agency wants to be that partner. We want to be a valued partner that does actually make a difference to our clients. So
I just want to talk about that a little bit, because you mentioned sort of like maybe a little bit of a slowdown in the private equity being sort of pumped into the life sciences sector. So there may always be a little bit of trepidation when it comes to partnering with a talent provider. What would you say to those companies who sort of may be on the fence about it, in terms of what we can provide in terms of, or any talent provider could provide sort of outside of just candidate hire job sort of aspect?
Yeah, I think a big part of why Meet has been so successful over the years is it's a people-run business, and you feel that internally, but then that is really kind of able to glow and echo externally. So it means that we pride ourselves on our service. At the end of the day, all we do is interact with people. So if we don't present a a brilliant experience for our candidates and clients, then we kind of let ourselves down there. So that, that's probably the most important thing, is making sure that we really do provide a genuine service and solution for clients, as opposed to pumping out CVs and hoping that one sticks. The way that our business is set up is so that every consultant has a genuine, really solid foundation of knowledge within their vertical, and we call it an inch wide, a mile deep. That just means every individual understands their particular market, which is quite a narrow breadth of knowledge to have, but that means that the candidate pool that they have at their disposal is so deep. The knowledge they have of the going rates or salaries or opportunities to work remote or on site, it's such a great knowledge. We're not generalists, we really are specialists, and I think if you're a client with a talent acquisition team, of course all of our clients would prefer to do the recruitment themselves, right? It's going to cost you a lot less, but when the need is to find real specialists within this market, when that is exactly where a company like me adds real value.
It's that market mapping, isn't it? We've worked in this space now for such a long time, over a decade. We build up that 15 years. How long? And you've been here almost 10 of them. Not to bring your age up again. Matt was complaining about his back earlier. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that market mapping's, we've made these connections. We've worked with some of these candidates for an awful long time. It's that access to that caliber of talent within the sector, right?
Right, and I think it's easy for us to take that for granted, or to assume that our clients are aware that, we've made thousands of placements in the specific verticals that they're looking for individuals with specialist skill sets. So it's easy for us to actually not be really clear to our clients to say, this is an age-old problem that we've dealt with so many times, and we can definitely help. So that, for me, part of my role is to make sure that we're explaining that to our clients really clearly, because the last thing you want to do is come off a client meeting where they don't actually understand, the 3 candidates we're about to send them have been placed by us multiple times, various different references and testimonials provided as well. So yeah, it's all about that trust and that service in what we do.
I always like to end these podcasts with a piece of advice for our listeners, and I guess from you it'd be nice to hear if you were speaking directly to some of the companies who are creating incredible devices and medications right here in Biotech Beach, and then down the way and up the way in Biotech Bay, and they're a little bit on the fence about sort of reaching out and sort of exploring what working with a talent provider could be like. What would you say to them, and sort of like, in order to maybe get those guys on board?
Yeah. It's a good question, and I could probably answer that in a few different ways. I'd say the main thing for someone who is either the leader of a startup or the founder or whatever, that's their baby. That product, that technology is their baby. So let's keep you doing what you need to do to develop that product itself, and let's leave the recruitment and the staffing and the consultancy to us as the experts within that field. That would be my recommendation. And look, if you feel that your own network is going to be able to facilitate that growth, then brilliant. You don't need us. But if you're on the fence about that, if you're unsure, if you want an agency that's ready to help and has seen those challenges of startups time and time again, then an agency like Meet is going to be right for you.
So yeah, I just want to say a huge thank you to you guys in supporting us. We've got some amazing things planned in 2025, which again just feels wild to say. 2025, this year's absolutely flown by.
That would be my 10th year in recruitment. Come on.
There you go. What do you get for that? Just another little bottle of champagne, or?
No, I'll probably just get a balloon like I did this year.
Yeah. Everybody loves a balloon. Cheers, guys, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.